You're listening to Inspiration and Information with Jen Julius. And today I have Christina Ness-Hawks, a licensed acupuncturist and owner of Thrive Acupuncture and Wellness in Santa Rosa, California. And today we are talking about natural ways to reduce stress. Christina's here with us. Say hi, Christina.
Hi, Jen.
And can you start off by just telling us a little bit about yourself, like what your education's like, where you came from, why you're so amazing now?
Thanks, Jen. Thanks for the introduction. I'm so excited to join you here today. I always really enjoy our conversation, so I hope we can inspire people out there.
Oh, we will.
So I'm a licensed acupuncturist. In California, you get a master's degree, a 4 years master's degree. You study Chinese medicine.
Oh.
And you also study Western medicine because that's the dominant paradigm. So you need to be able to talk with your patients and have that understanding as well. After you get your 4 years master's degree, during that time, you're working in a clinic and getting clinical hours and classroom hours. Then you're qualified to take the California State Board exam. And it's the hardest exam in the nation.
How many hours do you need?
It's somewhere over 3,000 hours. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So then you're a licensed acupuncturist.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's the hardest exam in the nation?
Yeah, there's a national exam. I'm also nationally certified.
Wow.
But that exam, in my experience, was a lot easier. California, for most of their licensing exams, likes to be really the hardest in the nation. Yeah.
That means we've got the best then, right?
Yes, of course.
There we go.
Of course.
Okay. And what led you to become an acupuncturist?
Acupuncture really changed my life. I was really sick from about the age 11 to around 25. And I tried everything to help. It was acupuncture that made the difference. I had a horrible immune system and I had low-grade allergies all the time. If I saw someone who had a cold, it was pretty much guaranteed I was going to get it and be in bed for 2 weeks and be on antibiotics with a sinus infection. It was a huge bummer. I went to a billion doctors and specialists and crazy woo-woo voodoo people, and everyone would say, oh, you look so healthy. But I felt horrible, and I was exhausted, and my activities were really limited. And finally, I went to an acupuncturist. I went to an acupuncturist actually when I was 21, and they didn't explain anything to me, and so I didn't stick with it. I did throw my back out at the time, and he did treat that, and that has been much better ever since. But he didn't explain that the sinus and immune system was going to take a while, so I didn't stick with it. And then once again, 5 years later, I decided to try it again and just do whatever the guy said. And it really changed my life. About 6 months later, all my friends noticed I was a different person, and I really got my life back, and it was really exciting. So I decided that I, at the time, had already had several careers. I had studied marine biology and trained animals and worked for a biotech company. And I had sworn I was never going to go back to school because school was really stressful for me. I'm a little stress case about school, a little perfectionist. So
I hear you.
So finally I said, I really want to help people with this medicine, so I'm going to go back and get this master's degree. And I went back, and lo and behold, my health started to struggle because I was so stressed.
Wow.
And a good friend of mine turned to me and said, you're either going to have to get this figured out or you're going to have to quit because it's making you sick.
Wow.
And here I was so upset. I had changed my life with Chinese medicine. I had dedicated my life to studying it and helping other people. And I was sick again. And so I went back to my acupuncturist and got treated for stress and my immune system again, and turned it around and made it through and got that 4 years master's degree and took that horrible test.
That horrible test. Wow.
Yeah.
And so how long have you been in Santa Rosa with your acupuncture?
Yeah. I started my business up here. I moved up here with my husband about 3 years ago, and I had a practice in San Francisco before that, and I was working for other acupuncturists as well. And then I started my own practice here in Santa Rosa 2 years ago. We just had our 2-year anniversary.
That's right. And I think we met right around when you started your business up here, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. That's still so funny how and that's the thing. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. Yeah. I remember Christina, I got a random message on Facebook one day that said, "Hi, I'm Christina. I kind of want to meet you." And I went, "Okay." okay.
And then we went and had coffee, and it was
and it was great.
fabulous.
And then we just have been building and building ever since. So.
Yeah.
And we have a lot in common around our philosophies around stress and around wellness and around what health looks like from that individual standpoint, which is so important, I feel like, for people to understand and recognize is that there isn't one answer for everyone for health.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to tell everyone, hey, be vegan and do Bikram yoga 7 days a week and you're going to be the healthiest person in the world.
Yeah.
That might
for
be
some people, that might kill them.
Yeah. Right? Like for me, maybe. Yeah. Because I like chicken.
Yeah.
So I think that as we talk today, what I really want to encourage people to think about is what sounds good for you, what resonates with you, what will work in your schedule, and how you act in the world around some of the ideas that we're providing, around some of the techniques about reducing stress. Sure, you could do all of them, but you might not want to, and that's okay, because some might work better than others for you. So I really just want to stress that, no pun intended, get it? And let people know that this is about your journey and figuring out your path to health as well. And this is just us providing options and ideas and information for you to really just see what works and help yourself as much as anyone else can help you.
Yeah.
So
my main message to patients always is to be curious.
Yeah.
I love, one of the things that happened to me is I realized that when I saw that first acupuncturist and didn't stick with it, that I wished he had educated me more, because then I would have had some information and I could have made choices, and maybe it wouldn't have taken me another 5 years.
I really appreciate you saying that, because that's where we have one of our biggest commonalities, is how passionate we are about providing information to people so they can make educated decisions.
Yeah.
You know, that's why the whole name of my show is Inspiration and Information, because when people can access this quality information and then be able to choose for themselves, that's when we can really start launching forward in our forward movement around health and wellness in our entire society. You know?
Yeah.
So
many times when people are struggling with their health in whatever ways, they're trying to figure out ways to help themselves, and they lose that sense of curiosity because they get to a place of, it's almost like they're at war with it, or they're trying to figure it out. They're asking, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
And they get so stuck in that struggle and how am I going to fix it? And they lose that curiosity where they can listen to their wisdom to be like, oh, I'm going to try that and see how it works for me. Or like, that does not appeal at all. You know, if they're sitting there making a pros and cons list, they might go do something that everyone else is recommending but doesn't resonate with them.
Exactly. And I really, really appreciate you saying that, because I really think that sometimes it can be kind of polar, where maybe we're skeptical of everything and think nothing works, or maybe we're too trusting of something in particular and not curious, as you just described, because even though something may work for everyone, like let's say that all your friends are on a certain medication that's supposedly helpful and makes them happy all the time. You know, that might not work for you. Sorry. You know, and I think being curious about like, even though that works for my friend, it's not really helping me out that much. And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, because everyone's bodies are going to react differently to things. You know, everyone's soul kind of resonates in different ways with different things.
And it may change throughout your life depending on what's going on. What's working for you today might be different than a year from now.
Totally. So thank you for bringing that up. I think that we should jump into a little bit around what stress is.
Yeah.
So people can really understand that we're not just talking about when you're pissed off all the time.
Yeah.
You know? We're talking about stress just being a natural part of life in pretty much all aspects, whether good or bad.
Yeah.
So do you want to kind of dive into that a little bit?
Yeah. First of all, I don't think stress in itself is inherently a bad thing. You know, for an extreme example, we've all heard of the mother whose child gets trapped under the car, and her stress jumps in and she's able to lift the car off and save her child. I mean, that is a great example, a very extreme example of how stress can be super beneficial.
Factor, perhaps. Yeah.
And at the core of that, what's happening when you have a stress response is your heart rate increases, your cortisol spikes up, and often your breathing increases. And these things are all to enable you to act quicker, to be more alert, to be able to make quick decisions. And they're very important in certain situations. I think they were probably more important in our ancestors' lives. We are actually very well provided for here in the States. And the things we stress about on a daily basis may not require that kind of alertness.
Like your coffee being messed up at Starbucks?
Yeah. Right. Or the car in front of you cutting you off.
Sure.
Or if you're running slightly late, or if you are trying to get your work done, you're wondering if you're going to be able to pull in that extra job and get that extra money so you can go on vacation.
Yeah.
You're in the car, eating, talking on the phone, trying to make it to your workout class. You know, these are the kind of stresses we put ourselves through, and it causes us to have that same stress reaction. And it's just really, when you think about it, not that big a deal.
Yeah. And unnecessary for your body to
Yeah.
go through that kind of big process
Yeah.
of freaking out a little bit
Yeah.
for something that it doesn't really need to freak out about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I think that sometimes I'll talk to people about stress and they say, oh, I'm not stressed, but there's different kinds of stress. You can have the emotional stress, and that's what most people think of when you're, you have anxiety type stress, or even depression, or those kind of big emotional changes. But there's also physical stress, and that's just if you're putting your body through physical demands. That's burning the candle at both ends. That's staying up late. That's working out too hard when your body's actually telling you to rest. Yeah. And then there's mental stress, and that's just like never giving your mind a break, working really late, never, you know, even when you're in the car, you're making all your phone calls and your contacts, and you're thinking about your next project and your next to-do list, and when you're going to pick up the kids and how you're going to fit everyone. Like, you're always playing that mental Tetris game, and you never give it a break.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think sometimes people say, oh, I'm not stressed, but I think we have such high expectations nowadays that we are stressing our system. You know, we're not stressed, but we're putting our system through a lot of stresses.
Well, and I think the energy of our culture is stressed. You know, I just think that our culture is naturally a little bit stressed out, which I think just that energy affects us as individuals as well.
Yeah. We value being busy and productive and super people, super moms, super dads.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate you bringing that up, because I actually just sent on my email list this week, I just said how I actually took the weekend off kind of.
Yeah.
And felt guilty about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
I just spent the weekend with my partner, and we caught up on, I finally found a TV show to watch. I don't watch TV.
Yeah.
So for me to watch a whole series was like phenomenal. And
Yeah.
now I'm freaking out about when the next season comes out.
Yeah.
You know, this is why I don't watch TV. But
I love that that's a goal for you to find a different way to chill out.
Right? Because, well, for me, so much working on my business is relaxing. No, it's still working a lot of the time, you know? But for people that their passion is their business, sometimes it is kind of hard to draw the line and understand that like you said earlier, our mind needs a break sometimes from what we're perhaps doing already for 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
But just taking the weekend off and just watching a show and going to the lake and going out on the kayaks, like all these things that I loved and needed, but then I still felt guilty about it. And I had to really take a second and remind myself, no, Jen, you took your first whole weekend off in how long? Like, literally, I can't remember the last time I did that.
Yeah.
And it just reminded me how important it is for us to take these breaks, to just let ourselves rest, whatever that looks like, to give ourselves that break, you know, from the stress of modern day life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. We have to practice what we preach. And I have to remind myself. My husband is also a great reminder. He's very good at knowing that he needs downtime and reminding me that I need downtime.
Men
so I'm always
tend to be
grateful
a little bit
for
better
that.
at that. Their needs tend to be a little bit more immediate and urgent. Like, oh, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat right now. Where a woman will be like, oh, I'm hungry, I have to get 30 more things done. And then 2 hours later, you're like, I'm so hungry, I'm crazy. You know, we tend to put ourselves a little bit more on the back burner. So, as we're talking about stress, I think we wanted to emphasize too a little bit about good stress.
Yeah.
And how that can still affect the body because it's still a form of stress.
Yeah.
So what are some examples that you can think of around good stress?
Well, I think one thing that stands out to me is that often if you're involved in things that you're passionate about, they might be a little bit stressful for you because they're so important to you, right? And so that same area where you're going to be motivated and you're going to work extra hard to do something or accomplish something or get something going is an area that's going to give you a lot of pleasure because it's something that really has meaning for you and that you find is really important. So I'm not saying that we should all work to eradicate all stress. I mean, we can't just give up, throw our hands up in the air and do totally boring things all the time. So it's just a matter of recognizing I am putting my body under stresses, and it's totally worth it because it's giving me this thing that's totally satisfying. It's inspiring me. And, there's sometimes where I'm working on certain projects, I'm excited about it, and it'll be a couple weeks and I get a lot less sleep than I would another week, but I am totally jazzed.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning, I have more energy. Yeah. I'm excited. My patients can feel it. I'm, sharing it with them, and I just have a little extra spring in my step, and that's exciting, and it's fabulous, and it's taking a little toll on my body at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times, another form of good stress people also sometimes forget is just maybe a graduation, a marriage, a birth, whatever, those things that are celebratory in our lives, but still can create a form of stress because it's a big change. Yeah. And sometimes when we go through any type of big change, that also creates that stress effect as well. Yeah. It's not only bad stuff. It's maybe when, like you described, you're super excited, you're working on stuff a lot, you're getting maybe less sleep, kind of wearing on your body, but you're so excited that it works for now, or just other events that are, even though they're good and celebratory, still have that impact. Yeah. So then, what are some ways that people can reduce stress if they're feeling like they've just really gotten to a point where, well, maybe not even gotten to a point. They want maybe to be preventative, which is what we also highly recommend. Yeah. But maybe they've gotten to a point where they're just like, something's got to give. Yeah. I'll back up a little bit. I think, so you have these stresses that are going on, and what happens is that you kick in all those responses. I talked about the cortisol, the increased heart rate, the shortness of breath. And so what can happen is that can get kind of locked in. Mm-hmm. And all those things, even if we were saying kind of bad or good stress, but even the bad stressors that we're talking about, they're fine if they're short-lived. Right. What happens, the problem is when it gets locked in, and then those stress responses keep happening, and then your adrenals get tapped and your resources get tapped, and then the body knows that it's tapped. So in order to make it through, it kicks in more stress response. So it's kind of like this downward spiral of constant stresses. And that's really the other ones, even though we're calling them good or bad, they're just facts of life. They happen. They're totally fine. They're going to get us through, and they're going to be annoying sometimes, and they're going to be inspiring sometimes. And that's totally fine as long as you get a break from them. It's when they get really locked in that I'd say it's actually really detrimental to your health and your well-being. Right. Right. Yeah. Thank you for emphasizing that.
And then I backed up. What was your question?
No, so I was just going to say, let's talk about some ways to reduce stress.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if someone's, whether it's preventative or whether it's they're on that downward spiral that you were just describing, what are some ways that they can really take a little bit of control over their own well-being, their own life, and their own ability to manage stress? Yeah.
My favorite way, no surprise, to reduce stress is through acupuncture. And one of the reasons I love it so much is because, like we talked about, when you've realized, okay, I've hit the wall, or you want to do some prevention, you start to try and figure out, like, how am I going to help myself? How am I going to reduce stress? How am I going to counteract these things I've been doing to myself? And then we can get questioning, why is this happening right now? And what's working? What's not working? What I love about acupuncture is that pretty much instantaneously, it calms the nervous system. It regulates your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. It gets oxygen moving through your blood, which is going to clean out toxins like cortisol that have been in there. It's going to relax your muscles. It's going to slow your breathing down, get rid of tensions. It can get rid of some of the symptoms like headaches, clear your mind, bring back some clarity. And pretty much instantly, your body's going to be reminded of its innate well-being and that ability to feel well. I feel like that is so close at all times, but when you're locked in that downward spiral, acupuncture really just reverses it pretty instantly. Wow. And I love that it takes the job of the intellect off duty, because then once you've had the acupuncture treatment and you get up and you're feeling better, then you can get back to that curious place and make better decisions for yourself and figure out, what are you really going to do to bring in well-being. Yeah. Yeah. How, in your experience, is there a certain number of treatments that someone needs to go to before they start to feel some relief from acupuncture? Yeah. It's different for everyone, and depending on what you're treating. The style of acupuncture that I do is renowned for really quick results, and 99% of my patients, when they get up off the table, say they're feeling more grounded, more centered, more in the flow.
Wow.
They are smiling. They feel lighter.
As soon as they're off the table.
Even it can start on the table.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So if you want to really make some changes, you're going to need to commit to a series of treatments.
Yeah.
The acupuncture is reminding your body how to get back into balance, and it's activating that ability for wellness. And so if you get a series of treatments, you want to start out with them closer together. Then if you keep reminding it, it's like a therapy. If you keep doing your sit-ups, then your core muscles get stronger. If you keep getting your acupuncture, then that balancing ability gets stronger. And then patients will notice that the effects will last longer, and that's when we know we've activated the body's ability, and it's picking up some momentum, and it's going to do it on its own. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's what I look for when I'm treating a patient, and then we know really things are
So people
off.
could easily have results after one visit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I expect that. There's some patients that it's slower going. It depends. I mean, life keeps happening. So you could leave the office and get
you don't have a cave that you hide people in for a week at a time while they're getting treatments.
They could leave my office and get a difficult phone call or things like that. So things are going to change it. They maybe they go home and they're feeling great, and then their kids keep them up all night, or something like that. Most people, the benefits they report right afterwards, the side effects are that they sleep better that night.
Oh wow. And that in itself can be really helpful.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah, that when you don't get enough sleep, the first thing that happens is your body gets a lot more inflammation going on, and that's kind of the root of all of our modern diseases is too much inflammation. So yeah, sleep should be
interesting.
A big priority if you want to reduce that inflammation.
Do you want to touch on that real quick? Briefly? Inflammation, like why it's so common in the body and how it affects us? Like maybe a little 30-minute snippet?
Yeah. I think it's hard to be short on that one.
Oh, okay.
Part of what's happening with all the stressors we're putting ourselves on and our current diet that often has a lot of less healthy oils, less healthy carbs, more sugars, more processed, more fried foods, more white flours and white sugars that combined with the stress and the lack of sleep, we can get a lot of inflammation in our body, an inflammation response that keeps going.
Got it.
And the best way to get that under control is to get more sleep. I mean, when I treat patients that have a lot of inflammation, like if they have fibromyalgia, which is they're known to have a lot of inflammation, or maybe like a rheumatoid type disease, that my first priority is to get better sleep. And if you talk to those patients, often one of the things they're really struggling with is sleep. So which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Right. No, yeah. And thanks for touching on that, because I think that is important to recognize how perhaps common then inflammation in the body is. Yeah. Because when you describe that, sounds like a lot of people that perhaps have those habits, lack of sleep, diet has a lot of processed or refined crap, and just not honoring the need for rest. And then also that high stress level, perhaps, keeping inflammation high in the body.
And there's more and more research coming out that, everyone's concerned about cholesterol in their blood, but that's not really the problem. It's the inflammation that's in our bloodstream that's causing, that causes problems in your vessels. And then that's when the plaques build up, and that's when you have greater risk for heart attack and things like that. That's why it's hard for me to be short on this, because it's something I feel really strong about. The key to having better cardiovascular health is really to reduce the inflammation. Oh. Yeah.
Beautiful. Which, I mean, not beautiful,
that's a whole nother
that is
show,
a whole other
though.
one. But I'm glad we touched on that, because it also, I think that links still directly to what we're talking about today, and why it's important then to get some of this stuff under control, to be able to manage our stress levels, because it does link to inflammation, to, wearing the body down on a really deep physical level, in really significant ways potentially. Yeah. You offer a special stress reduction treatment too, as well, don't you? Yeah. Do you want to touch on that real quick?
Yeah. One of the ways I love to help people experience acupuncture is through this mini stress reduction treatment I do. It's just 2 points in the ears. They balance the sympathetic and nervous sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. And it's just 20 minutes, and pretty much everyone gets up off the table feeling lighter and more grounded and more focused, energized, but relaxed. And often it's a great way for patients to come in to try acupuncture that have never had it before, to see that it is relaxing. I tell people all the time, a lot of times they're worried about needles, and I say, come on in. I'd love to share this with you. I love giving people their first acupuncture treatment because most of the time they fall asleep and they say, oh my gosh, that was so relaxing.
Wow.
Yeah. And some of my patients come in and they'll just get the mini stress treatment just as a little tune-up.
Wow.
As well. Yeah.
20 minutes.
Yeah. 2 points. It's amazing what 2 little points can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
People aren't going to be able to give themselves acupuncture right now, and they may not be able to get on the phone to call their acupuncturist right now. So I wanted to share one of my favorite acupuncture points that they can use as an acupressure point.
Perfect.
It's called yin tong, and it's between the inside of the eyebrows. So it's just above the bridge of your nose, and you can rub it right now with one of your fingers. If you're driving,
keep driving. If you're somewhere safe and seated.
Yeah. You can just place your finger right between the 2 inside corners of your eyebrows, and you just want to rub it with a little bit of pressure. It is really great for
I feel
calming.
it in my nose.
Yes. Yeah. One of its other functions is to open your sinuses. So during allergy time, it's super helpful.
Oh, this is good.
But it calms and clears the mind, and it regulates all the glands that release your different stress hormones.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it's a really great chill pill. One of the things I love about
it's a really great chill pill. I love that.
One of the things I also like about it is you can do this just about anywhere. And even though we look a little bit silly right now because we're rubbing our yin tongs, you could actually do it.
What's it called?
Yin tong.
Yin tong?
Yeah. And
so when next time someone calls me and they're like, hey, Jen, what's happening? What are you doing? I'm going to be like, oh, just rubbing my yin tong.
Totally,
right?
Totally. And you're going to sound really chill while you say it.
Yeah, I am.
But you can rub this at your desk if, and no one's even going to notice, if you just got your head on the counter and you're just quietly rubbing your forehead. So it's a easy point to use at any time.
You have a little dent there now.
I know. Because I was pressing it really hard.
Yeah? Do I have a dent in my head right now?
A little bit. Dot, yeah.
That's okay. Does that, so totally off topic, but real quick, is that why some cultures put dots here, or is that more the third eye? Or
I think that's more the third eye. Okay. Are they related? So, all wisdom is pointing to the same thing, right? So I'm sure somewhere these people are getting their wisdom, and it's
cool
telling them that that's an important point for clearing the mind and creating a connection to innate well-being, wisdom, intuition,
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So hopefully everyone's feeling a little bit more relaxed after yin tong, right?
Yes.
How do you spell that? Do you know?
YINTANG.
Oh.
Yin tong.
I was going to say tang. So thank you. Tong.
My Chinese lingual skills are not very good, but the yang and the tong are yang, not yang.
Perfect.
Tong, not tang.
Got it. I'm glad. That's why I'm glad that I asked, and then I already knew how to say it. Yin tong. Okay, very good. So while everyone's relaxing from that, what else did you want to dive into?
I wanted to talk a little bit about Chinese medicine's view about the liver organ meridian system and some different ways that we could support that.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So in Chinese medicine, the liver organ meridian system, all their organ meridian systems encompass a lot of the Western medical understanding of the organs, and then a whole nother aspect of them, often the psychological and spiritual aspect of it. So the liver organ meridian system is on a physiological level in Chinese medicine, controlling the smooth flow of everything throughout the body, especially your circulation. But it's the first system that's affected by emotions. And when that happens, things get stagnant and they're not moving as smoothly. And it can have an effect on your circulation not moving as smoothly, your digestion not moving as smoothly. And those things are going to affect your whole body. When you get that stagnation, often then there's going to be areas that are stuck, and you're going to get some friction, and you're going to get some heat. That heat may rise, and you can get migraines or heartburn or insomnia is because that heat is rising and getting stuck, and you're not able to put it to bed at night. Mm. And so you can see how in Chinese medicine, once your liver organ meridian system is affected by stress, it's going to affect your body. You're going to get headaches, tension, digestive upset. Skin upset is another one that happens because you get that heat and it comes out in your skin. So a lot of people get rashes when they're stressed.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So the way Chinese medicine addresses this is with acupuncture and with herbal supplements. And any herbal formula that's treating stress is pretty much going to really focus on the liver. There's going to be these plants and twigs and roots and
cool.
Brew them up into teas. And you can get these teas then created into pills or powders or, more simple, easy ways that we can get a hold of them here so you don't have to brew your twigs and leaves yourself.
There you go.
And there's going to be different formulas. In there, they have micronutrients, and they've been studying those micro and macronutrients, and they found that they have sedative effects and anti-stress effects. There can be antidepressant effects to elevate your mood. There can be things that help you sleep, and tranquilizing effects to help people that are going through maybe some severe emotional upheavals or even maybe some withdrawal symptoms. They're going to have a calming effect. They can also help with the headaches, the digestion, the skin stuff. And Chinese medicine, they create formulas. It's a formula-based herbal medicine. So there's going to be, anywhere from 5 to 15 to 30 herbs in a formula. It's going to be created custom for you to get your specific symptoms taken care of. And one of the things I love about this so much is it's going to get your liver healthy. It's going to address the other side effects, and you can go home and take it yourself. So it's going to be something you can do for yourself, which is very empowering.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And most people feel the effects right away as they take the herbs. I joke they can be like an herbal martini. You get off work and you go home and take your herbs. You can take a moment to relax.
Perfect.
It's your healthy herbal martini.
There you go. There you go. And so people can see results with that pretty quickly as well.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah.
And then is that something that they would then want to maintain for a long period of time, or?
Yeah, it's different for everyone. It depends. Some folks, like insomnia can be one that has a big mental component, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of times patients, we talk about their routine and what they're doing, having good sleep hygiene, make sure they're not using the computer too late and they're not bringing work into the bedroom. And so a lot of times the herbs that I would give them would be nourishing to nourish the things they're depleted that are not allowing their body to put itself to bed at night and stay asleep. And they're also going to be sedatives, so they actually makes them feel tired. And then sometimes they get a little attached to that part of the routine, right?
Yeah.
So then those patients might be taking the herbs for a little bit longer because we have to wean them off and make sure that they know that their body can do the work now. And so that's one that I can think of that can be longer term. But my goal is always to get the body back in balance and get you doing things to take care of yourself, get you eating the right things so you're not on the herbal formulas forever. Some people, it's really quick if they're going through some withdrawal symptoms or they just had a big emotional upset. We just get them back into balance, and then their body, often if it's really dramatic, it was really recent, then we get the body back into balance and it can do the work on its own pretty quickly.
Because our body wants to be healthy.
Yes.
It wants to be balanced.
Yeah.
It wants to work well.
That's undeniable. I mean, if you look around, the body is so healthy. People come in and they're so concerned. They're like, oh, I'm falling apart. I'm like, no, look at you. You're standing, you're breathing, you're walking. Like all these things are bombarding us all the time.
Yeah.
And look at all the things that are working. And, if we get depressed, we get down, we rise up. If we have a minor physical injury, the body has systems that start to repair it. If you get a paper cut, you don't have to sit there and think, oh, what do I need to do? The body sends out the white blood cells. It creates the scab. It has a little bit of inflammation that heats it up and kills all the bad bacteria. So there's so many things that are happening all the time. And I think that's happening from your mental perspective and your physical perspective all the time. The body's doing healing work.
Right. On all levels.
Yeah. And the things I'm talking about today, they're just really activating that ability to do it a little bit better.
Or enhancing it, or supporting it, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's because sometimes we need a little help. We need a little boost.
Yes. Yeah. Like when I was talking earlier, when I went back to school and I was so stressed, that was a big lesson for me. Like there's times in life where I'm going to need more support. Like when I was in school, I needed more support to deal with my stress because I have my own thoughts about school. And I got better at that, about changing my thoughts about school needing to be stressful.
Right.
But
right.
it just made me realize there's times in life, like I was so healthy and then I was struggling again. So I just needed more support.
And I think it's important. I want to touch on this briefly.
Yeah.
Just because I think some people often have a resistance to admitting that more support might be good for them.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people sometimes kind of have that mindset of, oh, I can do it all myself and I want to do it all myself and I don't need to go get outside help, or they just have this kind of perhaps perception that maybe there's a weakness about asking for support or help or advice or wisdom from someone. And I really just want to emphasize that sure, with some things, maybe you totally can heal yourself or, rebalance yourself and do all this work on your own. And that's great.
It's great. But do you want to do it faster?
Exactly.
Do you want to learn even more?
Exactly.
Do you want to get to the next level? I do. We do have this innate wisdom and health inside us. So I do think that your body is going to do it. But how much flailing around do you want to do until you get there?
I can actually attest to that a bit too, because when I was 20, and as a lot of my followers know, that's when I came out of my addiction and my eating disorder, and my brain chemicals were just so off the charts at that point that I was, basically manic, happy, wild, fun, crazy, and suicidal on a daily basis. Like my brain chemicals were just all over the map. And when I realized it was time to stop, I had to really take some time to rebalance that in my head. But I was so defiant and set on doing it myself. Yeah. It took 6 months to a year for me to start to balance out, but it worked. Yeah. Well, fast forward 6-7 years later, when I was having a lot of anxiety because of just, circumstances in life, and I did seek outside support. Yeah. We're looking at like a week or two to rebalance, a lot of that stuff. Yeah. Big difference. Yeah.
And I've always been someone to seek out. I want the professional help so I can learn. Like, I feel like there's been someone who's gone through this before that can help me see what I can really get out of this. As we go through our struggles, it's always a journey, and we're going to learn something from it, and we're going to bring it with us. I've always been the kind of person that says, take me to the expert and they can guide me through this and I can get through it fast and make it more fun.
Right, right.
Some people are a little bit more resistant to that, and they might be a little bit more stubborn, but
I don't know anyone like that.
But the thing I always encourage them is, how much patience do you have? Like, if you're really motivated, get curious and check out some other options. Like, if you don't like it, then you don't have to stick with it, but at least you tried something and you would have learned something interesting.
Exactly. And it's part of the journey of figuring out what works for you.
Yeah.
Really simple as that.
Yeah.
Maybe, that 5, 6, 7 years before, acupuncture just wouldn't have even made sense or even been a thought. You know, at the time, actually, all that was getting recommended to me was, a bunch of pharmaceutical pills. And that's why I said, heck no, why would I start on new pills when I'm trying to get off, you know? And I think that then so many years later, when so much of who I am had shifted and I had really started to embrace the concept of holism and holistic healing and understanding that critical importance of how the mind, body, and spirit are connected, that's when I started to realize maybe I should really start exploring some of these modalities that really simply support the body in coming back to a balanced state, which is what the body naturally is craving anyways. Yeah. So being able to get curious and figure out, again, what works for me? How can I support my body, my healing process, my stress levels, whatever, and exploring things and figuring out what works for you.
Yeah. I love that you said that a while ago that what was being recommended to you was pharmaceuticals and you didn't want that. If what's being recommended doesn't resonate with you, that was probably your wisdom saying like, oh, I don't want that, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Right. Then ask some different people.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, I was
and
just
they
like,
might recommend something different. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, at the time, I think I also lived in Southern California. I wasn't in Sonoma County.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't quite as, what's the word?
Open.
open, but also inundated. We're kind of,
yeah.
we're kind of very full of opportunities
Yes.
for natural healing
Yeah.
and alternative health, which really bothers me that we're still considered alternative in some ways.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's a soapbox.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show.
Yeah. But I mean, just really now understanding, and also correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't acupuncture covered under a lot of insurances now?
It is. With the recent changes in healthcare, if your plan
That's
is
big.
from California, it's a required medical benefit.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's not just accepted
Yeah.
then. That's like a big deal.
Yeah. I think there's about 6 states in America that it's a required medical benefit, and California is one of them.
That is huge.
And so I've been seeing I take insurance. I've been seeing a lot more patients with acupuncture benefits, which is really exciting for me. The first time I got acupuncture, my insurance covered it. I had great insurance back then, and that's when I got enough acupuncture that it really made a difference. So I feel really excited about that for people.
That is huge.
Yeah.
And that is such a great step forward for the healthcare system.
Yeah.
You know, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. Okay. So we have about 15, 20 minutes left. I want to make sure that we hit on all the topics that we promised that we would, and also that you really want to hit on today as well. We've talked a lot about what stress is, how it affects the body. We talked about the yin tong spot on our forehead. Do I still have a dent?
No, it's gone.
Okay.
It's totally back in balance.
Yeah? Perfect. Let's explore a little bit more of some of the things that you want to cover. We talked a little bit about the liver. Did you want to explore that a little bit more, or did you want to move on
I think that's a pretty good overview.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Did you want to move?
I guess 2 more things. Talking about herbs and supplements, I always think that it's important to get a custom formula that's going to address your liver and all the other things that it's affecting if your body's been put through a lot of stress. But what could you do right now? I'm not a big vitamin person for everyone. I think it's really different for everyone, but there are 2 things that I think are really helpful for everyone. And that is a good magnesium supplement. Magnesium is a micronutrient that should be in our food. It comes from the soils. Unfortunately, our soils are really depleted. So even if you're eating the best Northern California organic food, there probably isn't enough magnesium in your diet. It's also in unprocessed pumpkin seeds and some dark chocolate if it's high enough quality. But you can't really eat enough of those. So I actually recommend for a lot of my patients to supplement with magnesium. And it's important that you get a magnesium citrate that's really bioavailable. And it's basically the calming salts in our muscles and our bloodstream. Everyone's concerned about supplementing with calcium, but that actually is very exciting. So we need to balance it with extra magnesium. It calms your mind, it calms your muscles, calms your nervous system.
Is it true, too, that calcium needs magnesium in order to be absorbed appropriately into the body?
It does, and we need a lot more magnesium than we need calcium, because there's so many things nowadays that are supplemented with calcium in it, but not magnesium. You pretty much can't take too much magnesium. At a large dose, it's a laxative. Mm-hmm. So that's what you look out for, but you're just going to, you're not going to take that much. And if it does affect your bowel movement, you're going to ease off.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Listen to your body.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of Epsom salt, actually.
Yeah.
Because I know it's also, when taken internally, it's a natural laxative.
Yeah.
And is it magnesium sulfate or what? I forget what exactly it is.
You're testing my old chemistry skills here.
Uh-oh,
I'm not quite sure.
But could it be absorbed? I guess my question more so is, do Epsom salt baths, because we do absorb things through our skin, would that be beneficial for intake of magnesium at all?
It is beneficial, and there's other products out there that are actual magnesium baths that are even more beneficial.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can look for them. There's a brand that I love. It's called Natural Calm Magnesium, and they make an internal one that you mix with water, and they also make a bath salt.
Natural Calm. I think I have some of that at home.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to write that down. I think it was affordable. Pretty darn cheap when I bought it too.
They have it at all the local Oliver's and Whole Foods and health food stores and things like that.
Awesome.
The other thing I want to mention that is super beneficial for people is to make sure that their gut has a lot of really good probiotics. What we talked about before, that if you're having stress, there's going to be some inflammation. It often affects the digestive system. And if you take a probiotic, it's going to help reduce that inflammation. It's going to get the gut healthy. And then there's also a lot more research explaining the gut-brain axis. If your gut is healthy, then your brain is going to be more healthy. If you have, there's research out showing if you have inflammation in your gut, you also have inflammation in your brain. So,
interesting.
So this is another thing that we don't get enough of. In an ideal world, we'd eat more fermented foods, raw sauerkrauts and yogurts if you're good with dairy, probiotic pickles and kimchi and things like that. But we tend not to eat as much of that. So I recommend getting a good probiotic in there. There's actually a fascinating study they did on rats where they fed some of them a probiotic broth and some of them not. And then they put them in a bucket with water, which was stressful for the rats. And the rats without the probiotic in their diet swam around frantically and were really stressed. And the ones that had the probiotic broth in their diet were super calm, and they were actually able to find this rock that was at the bottom that they could kind of stand on. So it's a fascinating study to me. And the only difference was a probiotic. So yeah, it's going to help your gut and it's going to help your brain deal with stressful situations better. They also took blood samples on the rats, and the stress chemicals in the blood system were really high in the non-probiotic broth rats and non-existent in the ones that have been taking the probiotic.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So with this magnesium, you mentioned like natural calm and a magnesium supplement. Is that also something that you've noticed being pretty instantaneous for some people as far as the effect that it has?
It's great. I recommend people have it around, and if they wake up in the middle of the night and they can't go back to sleep, they go drink that. It's super helpful. Yeah. My patients report all the time that it helps them get back to sleep.
Is there a time, I'm glad you just mentioned that, is there a time of day that you would recommend people taking it then?
I recommend they get it in twice a day, and if they wake up in the middle of the night, get some more. I mean, you can't get enough of it, really. So, or too much of it.
Sure. And if you do,
yes,
and you'll know.
Yes.
And do you also then offer magnesium supplements with your offerings as well?
All my patients that come in, I give them a report of findings that has recommendations. I carry in my office a full Chinese herbal pharmacy, and I let them go get the other things that they can get other places. I worry about carrying the things that they can't get anywhere else. And I recommend that they go pick up the other stuff somewhere else.
So you do more custom blended things.
Herbal formulas.
More directly suited towards
But I give everyone
needs.
recommendations of things they can do.
Great.
All the time.
Wow. Excellent. Okay. Perfect. So with our last 10 minutes, how do we want to use it?
Well, a lot of people, you can use your yin tong and you can head to the grocery store to get some of these things. But right now, in this moment, you're not going to give yourself acupuncture. And you're not
please don't.
I
hope I don't need to do that disclaimer. Like, please do not leave this radio show and poke yourself with needles. Please.
Your custom herbal formulas and your acupuncturist you want to leave to the trained professionals.
Yes.
But what can you do right now, right this minute, that's going to help your nervous system relax? And one of the things I think we all should be doing more of is some mindful breathing. One of the things I talked about when we're stressed is that your breath changes. Have you ever noticed that when you're stressed, what happens to your breathing? Sometimes it stops, gets more shallow, gets really quick. A lot of people hold their breath when they're really concentrating. So what can you do to stop the stress? Well, if you have control over your breath, and so if you can make it be more smooth, more deep, more even, and mimic the state of being relaxed, it actually relaxes your nervous system. It's like smile and you'll feel more happy, breathe more relaxed and you'll feel more relaxed.
Perfect.
So a lot of people think, oh, how am I going to do breathing exercises? And they make it really complicated. I say just do them. And that's why I recommend a really simple one.
Okay.
Do you want to do it right now?
Yes.
Okay. So I want you to put one hand, if you're driving, don't do this, but if you're at home and able to relax.
We got disclaimers all over the place today.
The self-care can be very, very tricky, right?
That's right.
So you can put one hand on your stomach and one hand on your chest. And what I recommend is that you want to breathe evenly. So you're going to breathe through your nose for a count of 5. And then you're going to hold it for a count of 1. And then you'll breathe out through your mouth for a count of 5. And then hold that for a count of 1. And that count of 5 can be as long or as short as you need it to be. You don't want to get dizzy. And as you do this for longer, then you'll get better at it. But the key is to make it even. So the in and the out are even. The body loves that even regulation. And you can start with 3 to 5 minutes and increase over time. Like I said, if you get dizzy at all, just take a few normal breaths before you start up again. And by having your hand on your chest and your stomach, it just really brings you back to your body. Jen looks more relaxed already. I'm talking, so I'm not breathing as much.
Well, I'm also smiling because this is something that I do with my clients that I just figured out intuitively.
Yeah.
It almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
One hand on chest, one hand on belly, sometimes both hands on belly.
Yeah.
But I would do 3 in, hold for 3, 3 out.
Yeah.
And it just blows my mind that intuitively we know sometimes what we need.
Yeah.
You know, like we know how to get back into our bodies and what we need to do it. And sometimes we just need to listen to it. Yeah. And so I'm just like cracking up over here because I'm like, yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
You know, this stuff works.
So if you want bonus points, if you're an overachiever mindful breather,
let's hear them.
I recommend you can put your tongue on the roof of your mouth just behind the back of your teeth. And when you breathe in, you're breathing in through your nose. And when you breathe out through your mouth, you leave your tongue there and you can make an O with your lips. And that's going to create a little bit of resistance. Just like I had to show Jen what the O was going to look like. Just like when you breathe through your nose, there's a little bit of resistance because your nasal passages are small. When you breathe out through your mouth and you create that little bit of resistance, it helps that evenness. So you can feel more even on the in-breath and the out-breath.
Wow. I know that at least 3 people right now are doing that. So describe it one more time.
Okay. So we're going to breathe in through our nose, or we're going to put the tongue on the roof of our mouth behind our teeth. Then we're going to breathe in through our nose for a count of 5. Then we're going to hold for a count of 1. And then you're going to open your lips and create an O with your tongue still on the roof of your mouth. Breathe out for a count of 5 and hold that for 1. And you would continue to do this for about 3 to 5 minutes to start. I recommend people aim to get up to 10 minutes a day. You can do this anywhere. Anyone has an extra 10 minutes to breathe. When you wake up in bed in the morning, before you get out, when you get into bed, add it into areas that you have a routine already, before a meal, after a meal, in the shower, something like that. And I also recommend people spend a little bit of time thinking, what do they want to feel like when they're done with this breathing? What do they want to look like? Imagine there's a little fly on the wall and he's watching you.
Yeah, add some visualization to it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. That's your other bonus points if you're an overachieving mindful breather.
Yeah.
If you think about your favorite food, you're going to salivate. If you think about lemons hard enough, you also get a little tart salivation in your mouth. So if you think about your physiology, you can really change it and influence it. So if you think about what you want to do, like if you're totally stressed out and you're not productive and you're trying to get something done, just picture like you're done with your breathing exercise and you look totally focused and you're getting everything done and you're not distracted and you're smiling and you're in the flow. Just picture what that's going to look like. Perfect. You're going to get there a lot faster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So between the yin tong, the natural calm, and the breathing,
and the probiotics, people could be a heck of a lot calmer today. Yeah.
Right now, even if they were doing the yin tong and the breathing that we just talked about, or finding their natural calm in their cabinets or whatever, their probiotics, eating some yogurt.
Yeah.
Is there any type of yogurt that's better than another for probiotic balance?
Yogurt is a funny thing. It's marketed as a health food, but so much yogurt has so much sugar.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy. A lot of yogurt that's marketed at kids, like the Go-Gurts, is like worse than a bowl of Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
It really frustrates me. So you want to get yogurt that doesn't have sugar in it. I typically get Greek yogurt. I get a locally produced Greek yogurt like from Strauss or something like that. And I add my own honey and fruit. And because that kind of yogurt has a lot of protein in it too.
Okay.
I don't think we're getting enough protein in our diets. Another topic for another show. So many things.
Yeah, so many. So a good Greek yogurt might be one then to check out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Without anything added. Then add your own. Right now is strawberry season. Go pick up some local strawberries.
Perfect.
Little local honey.
I tell you, Greek yogurt with some honey is actually real good.
Yeah.
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 And I'm definitely one of those people that likes my health food to taste real good, or else I'm not about it.
I love food, so.
See, I'm one of the ones that I'm like, oh, I need to eat something green. I better hide it in my smoothie. You know what I mean? Sometimes I like salads, but a lot of the times it's like, oh, well, my kale and spinach was mixed with all my berries and apple juice in my smoothie today.
Yes.
And that's okay too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
If you need to hide your greens, as long as you're getting them, then you're set.
Yeah.
Perfect. So then let's kind of do a little overview of what we talked about today. You go.
We all have stress.
Yes,
we can't
do.
deny it. It's better for you if you admit that and figure out some ways that you want to find some balance. Get curious about what could work for you. Acupuncture is going to rebalance your nervous system and get your circulation back to normal.
Yeah.
It's going to possibly treat some of the other side effects like insomnia or gut problems or skin problems, and going to help you feel better instantly. You can use your acupressure yin tong to get a feel of it in between your two eyebrows. Rub that point. You can also think about how to support your liver with a custom herbal formula.
Perfect.
And go out there, get some calm magnesium, natural calm magnesium, and some probiotics. Get a little supplementing going on right now. And then start doing some breathing exercises today.
Yeah. Really simple stuff.
And see what happens.
Yeah. Play with it.
Yeah.
What are you going to lose?
Yeah.
Maybe some of your stress.
Yeah.
Not a bad
3 to
thing.
5 minutes of breathing.
Yeah. I mean, really, some of the things that we talked about today, 10 minutes could be huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. The mind is a muscle. If we can practice, I mean, the breathing exercise is about quieting the mind and focusing, as well as the physiological benefits of the breathing. If we can practice calming the mind, then you're going to be able to do it when you need to.
I just had an idea.
Yeah.
I would love to challenge people that are listening to commit to either the yin tong or the breathing that we talked about.
Oh, I love it.
The yin tong rubbing of the forehead between the eyebrows, or the breathing that we discussed, the 5 seconds, the mindful breathing, the 5 seconds in, 1 second hold, 5 seconds out with one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly.
Yeah.
Commit to that for a week.
I'd love it. It's a relaxation challenge.
Yeah. What you can do right now is you can go into your smartphone and you can set a reoccurring alarm for a certain time of day, where perhaps it's 10 minutes after your alarm goes off and you're hitting the snooze button anyways. Maybe it's on your ride home from work, but then don't touch your cell phone while you're driving. But set an alarm for a week and let us know how it goes. Let us know if you notice any effects, whether you do or you don't. And I'm speaking for you too, but I would really like to hear from people if it helps or not. Would you?
Yeah. I'd love to. And I love that you are the person that's going to help people make these changes, and that what you think of, I have these ideas, and what you do is implement really easy ways to help people make that change.
Well, thank you.
Put it in your phone right now. Of course, Jen would think of that.
I do. Well, I don't know. I just released my 5 super easy tools to feel happier now. And it's all about utilizing this technology that we have to really maximize our ability to build our resilience, to make ourselves feel happier, to really deal with life's daily challenges and feel happy now. And I've realized it doesn't need to be hard to feel better.
Yeah.
It's actually really easy. Yeah. Once you just go, oh, here's a tool that works for me. Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
So thank you. So I would love for people to try that out. And then we would love to hear from you. So as far to let me know, you can go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/JenJuliusCoaching. You can go to my website, jenjulius.com, or email me at jen@jenjulius.com. Let me know how it went. And Christina, how can people find out more info about you and get a hold of you, let you know how it goes after a week, or maybe just find out more info about acupuncture and herbs?
Yeah. The best way to get information about me is at my website. It's thrive-acupuncture.com. That's THRIVE, thrive as in thriving, -acupuncture.com. And there's tons of information on there about acupuncture. I have an ebook. People can get even more information if they're curious about these things, some other things they can do for themselves. And I also have a Facebook page. I think it's Thrive Acupuncture at Facebook.
Yep, facebook.com/Thrive Acupuncture and Wellness.
Ah, yes, thank you.
You're welcome. I just looked at it. So that's how you can find out some more information about Christina. And let us know how this little relaxation challenge goes, because
super curious.
It could be really helpful.
Yeah.
In fact, it should be.
It's the simple things.
It really,
simple everyday things.
Really is. And if you want to do both, that's fine too.
Yeah.
You want to go buy some Natural Calm? Have at it. Let us know.
I love overachieving stress reducers.
Yeah. Right. Right. If you're going to be over the top, do it in some happy, beneficial ways. Right. Yes. Perfect. Well, anything that you would like to shout to the world as we close today, like a word of wisdom, something that you can just say, if this is what I'm going to have the world hear, this is what it is.
The thing I feel most passionate about is just knowing that you have innate physical and mental well-being with you at all times, and you know how to take care of yourself.
Yes.
And if you can quiet the mind, that wisdom will shine through.
Yes. 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 Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun.
Oh, always a pleasure seeing you in general. So beautiful. You have been listening to Inspiration and Information with Jen Julius. We just had Christina Ness-Hawks, licensed acupuncturist and owner of Thrive Acupuncture and Wellness in Santa Rosa. You can find out more about her at thrive-acupuncture.com or find her on Facebook, facebook.com/Thrive Acupuncture and Wellness. And for more information about me, you can go to jenjulius.com or like me on Facebook at facebook.com/JenJuliusCoaching.